All right, so winter of 1935. All right, state tests again. Oh, that reminds me of something too. There was something that was said by the governor of New Jersey that there might not be SGOs this year, so just keep that in mind too. I don't know if that affects state tests. Originally, we were supposed to do state tests. I don't know if that's changing either. Miss Freeland said our grade topped the entire state of Oklahoma on the state tests again, 24 points higher than the state average. I wish I could run home and tell Ma and see her nod and hear her say, I knew you could. It would be enough. Right till she's obviously missing her mom here. Christmas dinner without the cranberry sauce. Miss Freeland was my ma at the school Christmas dinner. I thought I'd be the only one without a real ma, but two other motherless girls came. We served turkey, chestnut dressing, sweet potatoes, and brown gravy. We did all of ourselves and came out pretty good. Better than Christmas dinner I made for my father at home, where we sat at the table silent, just the two of us. Being there without Ma, without the baby, wouldn't have been so bad if I'd remembered the cranberry sauce. My father loved Ma's special cranberry sauce, but she never showed me how to make it. Driving the cows. Dust piles up like snow across the prairie. What kind of figurative language is that? Dust piles up like snow. Is what kind of figurative language?
Simile.
Good. Dunes leaning against fences. A dune is kind of like a mountain. Mountains of dust pushing over barns. Joe Delafleur can't afford to feed his cows. He can't afford to sell them. County Agent Dewey comes, takes the cows behind the barn, and shoots them. Too hard to watch their lungs clogged with dust, like our chickens, suffocated. Better to let the government take them, than suffer the sight of their bony hides sinking down into the earth. Joe Delafleur rides the range. Come spring he'll gather russet thistle, pulling the plant while it's still green and young, before the prickles form, before it breaks free to tumble across the plains. He gathers thistle to feed what's left of the cattle, his bone-thin cattle. Cattle he drives away from the dried-up Beaver River, to where the Cimarron still runs, pushing the herd across the breaks where they might last another week, maybe two, until it rains. Right, so this guy has to get his cattle shot because they are going to suffocate, and the cattle he has left they think is going to die anyway. First, rain. Sunday night I stretch my legs in my iron bed under the roof. I place a wet cloth over my nose to keep from breathing dust, and I wipe the grime tracings from around my mouth and shiver thinking of Ma. I'm kept company by the sound of my heart drumming. Restless I tangle in the dusty sheets, sending the sand flying, cursing the grit against my skin, between my teeth, under my lids, swearing I'll leave this forsaken place. I hear the first drops, like the tapping of a stranger at the door of a dream. The rain changes everything. It strokes the roof, streaking the dusty tin, ponging, a concert of rain notes, spilling from gutters, gushing through gullies, soaking into the thirsty earth outside. What is gutters, gushing, and gullies? What is that an example of? Spilling from gutters, gushing through gullies. What do you call that? When the sound is repeating over and over again. It's called what?
Is there alliteration?
That's correct, Jeffrey. Good job. There's a lot of alliteration in this. Notice the next line too. Monday morning dawns cloaked in mist. That's also alliteration. I button into my dress, slip on my sweater, push my way off the porch, sticking my face into the fog. Into the moist skin of the fog. That's another example of personification there. The sound of dripping surrounds me as I walk to town. Soaked to my underwear, I can't bear to go through the schoolhouse door. I want only to stand in the rain. Right, so kind of opposite of what your average person would do, right? They don't want to stand in the rain, but she wants to because she kind of enjoys the fact that it's finally raining. Monday afternoon, Joe Delafleur brushes mud from his horse. Mr. Kincannon hires my father to pull his olds out the muck on Route 64. And later, when the clouds lift, the farmers, surveying their fields, nod their heads as the frail stalks revive. Everyone, everything grateful for this moment, free of the weight of the dust. Hayden Peni. Hayden Peni died this week. I knew him to wave. He liked the way I played the piano. The newspaper said when Hayden first came, he could see only grass. Grass, wild horses, and wolves roaming. Then folks moved in and sod got busted and bushels of wheat turned to plains to gold. And Hayden Peni grabbed the Oklahoma panhandle in his fist and he held on. By the time the railroad came in on land, Hayden sold them. The buffalo and the wild horses had gone. Some years Hayden and I saw the sun dry up his crop, saw the grasshoppers chew it down. But then came years of rain and the wheat thrived. His pockets filled and his big laugh came easy. They buried Hayden and I in his land, busted more sod to lay down his bones. Will they sow wheat on his grave where the buffalo once grazed? Right, so this guy's life that they kind of just did a little story of kind of just shows you the cyclical period, how it gets good, then bad, then good, then bad, right? Scrubbing up dust. Walking past the Crystal Hotel, I saw Jim Martin down on his knees. He was scraping up mud that had dried to crust after the rain mixed with dust Sunday last. When I got home, I took a good look at the steps and the porch and the windows. I saw them with Ma's eyes and thought about how she'd been haunting me. I thought about Ma, who would have washed clothes, beaten furniture, aired rugs, scrubbed floors, down on her knees, brush in hand, breaking that mud like the farmers break sod, always watching over her shoulder for the next duster to run in. My stubborn Ma, she'd been doing it all with my brother Franklin to tend to. She could never stand a mess. My father didn't notice the dry mud. At least he didn't tell me. Not that he tells much of anything these days with Ma gone. If the mud's to be tossed, the job falls to me. It isn't the work I hate, the knuckle-breaking work of beating mud out of every blessed thing. But every day my fingers and hands ache so bad. Remember, her hands are damaged from the fire. I think I should just let them rest. Let the dust rest. Let the world rest. Notice there's repetition going on here. But I can't leave it rest on account of Ma. Haunting. Right? So she's kind of haunted by the memory of her mother. And this is kind of playing out in the fact that she realizes maybe she should be cleaning up all the dirt because that's what the mom used to do. Outlined by dust. My father stares at me while I sit across from him at the table, while I wash dishes in the basin, my back to him, the picked and festered bits of my hands in agony. He stares at me as I empty the wash water at the roots of Ma's apple trees. He spends long days digging for the electric train folks, when they can use them, or working here nursing along the wheat, what there is of it, or digging the pond. He sings something under his breath even now, even after so much sorrow. He sings a man's song, deep with what has happened to us. It doesn't swing lightly the way Ma's voice did, the way Miss Freeland's voice does, the way Mad Dog sings. My father's voice starts and stops like a car short of gas, like an engine choked with dust. But then he clears his throat and the song starts up again. He rubs his eyes the way I do with his palms out. Ma never did that. He wipes the milk from his upper lip the same as me, with his thumb and forefinger. Ma never did that, either. We don't talk much. My father never was a talker. Ma's dying hasn't changed that. I guess he gets the sound out of him in the song he sings. I can't help thinking how it was for him without Ma. Waking up all alone, only his shape be left in the bed, outlined by dust. He always smelled a little like her first thing in the morning when he left her bed and went out to do the milking. She'd scuff into the kitchen a few minutes later, bleary-eyed, to start breakfast. I don't think she was ever really meant for farm life. I think once she had bigger dreams, but she made herself over to fit my father. Now he smells of dust and coffee, tobaccos, and cows. None of the musky woman smell left that was Ma. He stares at me. Maybe he's looking for Ma. He won't find her. I look like him. I stand like him. I walk across the kitchen floor with that long-legged walk of his. I can't make myself over the way that Ma did. And yet, if I could look into the mirror and see her in my face, if I could somehow know that Ma and baby Franklin lived on in me, but it can't be. I'm my father's daughter. Right, so this chapter kind of basically shows you how she's very much like um, her her father and not her mom, though she wishes she was more like her mother. All right, this is the last chapter we're going to look at here. The President's Ball. A ball is like a dance. All across the land, couples dancing arm in arm, hand in hand at the birthday ball. My father puts on his best overalls. I wear my Sunday dress, the one with the white collar, and we walk to town to the Legion Hall and join the dance, our feet flying, me and my father, on the wooden floor whirling, to Arlie Wanderdale and the Black Mesa Boys. Till 10, when Arlie stands up from the piano to announce we raised $33 for infantile paralysis, a little bit better than last year. So this is probably caused from polio. So again, remember, polio was a disease that people got vaccinated for, so people don't really get it anymore. But it basically caused a lot of people to get paralyzed, especially like young people. I remember last year when Ma was alive and we were crazy excited about the baby coming. I played the same party for Franklin D. Roosevelt and Joyce City and Arlie. Tonight, for a little while in the bright hall, folks were almost free of dust, almost free of debt, almost free of fields of withered wheat. Notice all the repetition there. Most of the night, I think I smiled, and twice my father laughed. Imagine. Right, so this chapter kind of highlights a small period of time where the people are a little bit happy. All right, so you're going to go on Socrative. Let me stop this video if you need to watch it, for those of you